All right. So I thought I'd start out with an anecdote. I wanted to share the first piece of advice that I received on the first line of the first article I ever wrote. When I claimed that divorce was rampant in North America, affecting families possibly beyond repair, I was told not to oversell it. But since the rest of today breaks with convention, I figured, why not? Since the dawn of man, he has written on cave walls to share his story, express his struggle, and how he thrived. History is immortalized through sculpture, painting, and architecture. It's been used to demonstrate the evolution of beauty, the controls imposed by physical structure and architecture, and the subjective account of momentous historical occasions. Oh yes, it's all very impressive, I know. But I'm not here today to convince you that visual methods or methodologies are the answer to all of the research questions out there. There are many cases in which, and populations with whom, visuals have only limited use or are not useful at all. My hope for today is to introduce visual research methods, explain how visual methods and methodologies can answer certain research questions and elicit data from specific populations, and most of all, how they can evoke responses from creators and consumers of the knowledge. So what is a visual methodology? If this was an easy answer, it would be a pretty unnecessary presentation. But lucky for me and my CV, it's a complex question with layered answers. Mitchell says that there are multiple ways of working with visuals in research, including as representations, in which the data is turned into a visual to make a point, through dissemination, or making visual exhibits or exhibitions to share the knowledge, or as a mode of inquiry, or a type of data elicitation. The last type would be how we would use a visual methodology or a visual method within a larger methodology. When addressing the aesthetic quality of arts-informed research, Cole and Knowles say that it must be accessible, evocative, empathic, embodied, and provocative. It's a medium with which to gather knowledge and not to make fine art. So please know that it is not about the aesthetic quality, it's about the information that you're getting. So what are some types of visual methodologies? You may already be familiar with photonovela, in which the camera is placed in the hands of the participant, or its participatory derivative, photo voice, in which the data collection and interpretation are both in the hands of the participant. Both capture snapshots of the community and act as needs assessments and to elicit conversation in order to solution seek with your participants. Some of you may also be familiar with body mapping as it's increasing in popularity. That's actually a body map that I conducted with some of the researchers here. In body mapping, the human body is traced on life-size paper, and the participant is guided through the process to create a almost visual narrative of their journey through representation and metaphor. But there are much simpler forms of visual methodologies, including pen and paper drawing to represent and analyze situations, family album analysis in which to explore historical and social convention, and collage or scrapbook to represent oneself through multiple media and artifacts. To demonstrate the diversity and power of visual methodologies and visual methods, the rest of the presentation will be a brief visual representation of my journey through grad school and how I came to understand health and visual methodologies. I used a mixed media style of scrapbooking and collage, using media that best express the information that I'm trying to convey at that point, maximizing the accessibility, evocation, embodiment, provocativity, and elicited empathy of the message. So it may not be a story worth sharing necessarily, but it would be extremely uncouth of you to walk out right now. So please, just grin and bear it. From a young age, I never really thought about science or what it entailed. To me, it was a given that science occurred in a lab and health was chemical and biological. To me, research was a clean ordeal. While I was taught that research extended beyond post-positivistic and lab-based controls, the message never really sunk in. With this mind frame, I graduated from University of Western Ontario with a Bachelor in Health Sciences and Biology. I also thought visuals were diagrams and figures, and they were helpful additions to the real work, which was the writing or math. I didn't think it was a part of the research process. These views began to change immediately as I entered graduate school. The shift in my thinking could be described as overwhelming, but I didn't think that word was strong enough. I moved on to mind-blowing. With a changed understanding of paradigm, epistemology, and what research really is, I questioned what health itself was. If health research is more than labs and control trials, what is health? And am I really studying it? I had to conceptualize a way that health was meaningful to me so that I could answer my question that addressed health, which addresses adolescents following their parental divorce and how their occupations adjust. I painted Health Revisited as a representation of health as I see it, a mixture of biology and chemistry as indicated by the double helix DNA, harmonious human connection, symbolized in the olive branch, and the dominating cultural and historical beliefs that we adhere to, captured in the continued use of the mythical caduceus, or rod of Asclepius, even in today's healthcare system. It took so long to pronounce those right. But how could you best explore the multifaceted concept that is health? In my case, as it relates to adolescents following the parental divorce, I was struggling to find a methodology that my research could really use. I was directed by my committee towards visual methodologies as a way of eliciting information from teenagers, as mentioned by Shannon earlier. I was immediately struck by the literature and images. My initial foray into visual methodologies focused on work from South Africa with populations living with HIV and AIDS. To me, it seemed that Western solutions were charitably given to African communities, tested, and then disseminated. But if we asked what they really needed and what they already have in use, we might get a different picture. This painting, called Blanket Solution, Let Your Colors Fly, depicts the monotony of the solutions of to the shadowed victims of HIV/AIDS. It's what Western culture is giving them rather than finding out what they need. But also the beauty of breaking free and expressing oneself and what this can teach us. The personal nature of creativity and the creativity of visual methodologies and the different types of thinking that come with the representation and metaphor inspired me in my research. So what does it all mean? The use of visual methodologies can help people who are unable to articulate complex ideas and feelings do so through representation and metaphor. It's also believed that creating and processing visuals uses different neural pathways, leading to new and different understandings of issues and unique solutions and ways of solution seeking. It also provides impactful ways of disseminating data to consumers at multiple levels. There are many benefits to the free expression and deep connection fostered by visual research methods and methodologies. And I hope that today's brief intro into the use of visual methods in research has allowed you to see the new horizons for research. Thank you.